Pause to ponder the true impact of European arrival on Native American populations? This question is more significant than one might initially think. The arrival of Europeans on American soil caused a ripple effect, altering the course of history and shaping the world we know today. These changes were far-reaching and profound, affecting every aspect of Native American life, from their health and their culture to their very existence. Today we're going to delve into this intriguing historical event, examining it from 10 different perspectives. We'll be counting down from 10, each point shedding light on a specific area of impact. This countdown will guide us through the complex web of changes that the Native American populations had to navigate, changes that continue to resonate centuries later. So, are you ready to embark on this historical journey with us? Join us now as we journey back in time to understand the drastic changes that unfolded. Impact number 10, the arrival. It's impossible to overstate the profound impact of that first contact between Europeans and Native Americans. Imagine for a moment societies that had evolved independently for thousands of years suddenly thrust into a collision course with a world they never knew existed. The arrival of Europeans didn't just bring new faces, it ushered in a wave of disruption that would forever reshape the landscape of the Americas. Native American societies, with their rich tapestry of cultures, languages, and traditions, found themselves grappling with a foreign presence that was, at once, both intriguing and daunting. The Europeans arrived bearing not only their own cultural baggage, but also new technologies and ideologies that would challenge and, in many ways, undermine the status quo of Native American societies. This initial contact set the stage for a series of seismic shifts that would reverberate through the centuries. The arrival heralded the beginning of a new and challenging era for Native American populations. Impact number 9, the diseases. The arrival of Europeans introduced a wave of foreign diseases, marking an unintentional biological warfare of sorts: measles, smallpox, influenza, and the bubonic plague. These were just some of the deadly diseases that swept through Native American communities like wildfire. The effects were devastating. Entire tribes were wiped out, cultures lost, traditions forgotten. The death toll was staggering, with an estimated 90% of the Native American population succumbing to these new diseases. Why was the impact so severe, you might ask? The Native Americans had no immunity to these foreign diseases. Their bodies, unexposed to these pathogens, were unable to fight back effectively. The Europeans, on the other hand, had centuries of exposure, allowing them to build a certain level of immunity. In the grand scheme of things, these diseases were invisible killers, infiltrating and decimating Native American communities. They left a lasting, undeniable impact, reshaping the course of history. The invisible killers' diseases left a lasting impact on the Native American communities. Impact number 8. The trade. The arrival of Europeans marked the beginning of a new era for Native American economies. It led to the establishment of vast trade networks, spanning across oceans and continents. Native Americans traded goods such as furs, pottery, and food, receiving in return European commodities like metal tools, textiles, and firearms. This exchange of goods created a dynamic and complex economy previously unheard of. The trade revolutionized the way Native Americans lived. European goods enhanced their daily lives, making tasks easier and more efficient. However, the influx of foreign commodities also introduced a dependency on European goods. This dependency disrupted traditional ways of living and led to economic imbalances within Native American societies. The introduction of firearms in particular had a profound impact. It altered the power dynamics among tribes, escalating conflicts and leading to devastating wars. Trade brought both prosperity and problems, forever changing the economic landscape. Impact number 7, the enslavement. A dark and grim chapter in the history of Native Americans was the widespread enslavement they faced with the arrival of the Europeans. The newcomers, driven by a lust for wealth and power, saw the indigenous peoples not as human beings, but as a resource to be exploited. Enslaved Native Americans were forced to labor in mines, plantations, and homes under brutal conditions. The incessant work, coupled with inhumane treatment, led to a significant decline in their population. This was not mere physical subjugation, but an attempt to obliterate cultures, traditions, and identities that had thrived for centuries. The psychological torment and trauma were immense, passed down through generations, creating a legacy of pain and suffering. The chains of enslavement left a deep scar on the Native American societies, a scar that serves as a stark reminder of their painful past and the resilience they've shown in the face of such adversity. Impact number 6, the missionaries. With the arrival of Europeans came the missionaries. Their intention was not only to explore, but also to spread Christianity. Their faith, deeply rooted in their culture, was something they believed they could share with the New World. And so they set about their mission of conversion, aiming to bring the Native American populations under the umbrella of Christianity. While some Native Americans voluntarily converted, others were coerced, leading to a wide-scale shift in religious practices. This shift had profound effects on the traditional beliefs and customs of the Native American populations. Centuries-old rituals, practices, and spiritual beliefs began to erode, replaced by the doctrines of Christianity. The missionaries, while bringing a new faith, also led to the fading of a rich tapestry of traditional Native American spirituality. The missionaries brought new faith, but also led to the erosion of traditional Native American beliefs. Impact number 5, the reservations. As we delve further into the labyrinth of history, we stumble upon the grim reality of forced relocations. Native Americans, once free to roam their ancestral lands, were now confined to designated areas known as reservations. This was not a simple shift in location, it was a seismic shift in their way of life. Imagine having your world shrunk overnight. The vast plains, the towering mountains, the whispering woods, all replaced by the rigid boundaries of a reservation. Traditional lands, rich with history and culture, were lost forever. Life within these reservations was a far cry from the freedom they once knew. The land was often barren and resources scarce. Hunting, gathering, and traditional practices were severely limited, leading to a devastating impact on their cultural identity and survival. The creation of reservations marked a tragic chapter in Native American history, a chapter that still echoes in the hearts and minds of their descendants today. Impact number 4, the assimilation policies. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the United States government implemented policies aimed at assimilating Native Americans into mainstream society. Key to these policies were the Indian boarding schools, institutions designed to civilize Native American children. Forced away from their families, these children were taught English, dressed in Western-style clothing, and instructed in Euro-American customs. The impact of these policies was devastating. The forced education led to a significant loss of indigenous languages, as students were often punished for speaking their native tongues. The cultural traditions and practices that had been passed down through generations were similarly suppressed. The assimilation policies not only disrupted traditional ways of life, but also caused lasting psychological trauma. The policies were a clear attempt to erase Native American culture and replace it with a Euro-American one. Despite resistance and resilience from Native communities, these assimilation policies threatened the very existence of Native American culture. Impact number 3, the legal battles. From the moment Europeans set foot on the continent, land rights and sovereignty became contentious issues, triggering a series of legal battles that echo through history. Native American tribes, each with their own unique cultures and traditions, were suddenly thrust into a world where legal frameworks dictated their existence. Landmark court cases such as the Cherokee Nation versus Georgia in 1831 and Worcester versus Georgia in 1832 set precedents that continue to influence legal decisions today. These cases, among others, grappled with questions of tribal sovereignty, land rights, and the federal government's role in these matters. Despite the victories and setbacks, these legal battles have had a profound effect on the Native American populations. They have shaped the relationship between the tribes and the federal government and continue to dictate the dynamics of land ownership and tribal sovereignty. The legal battles continue to shape the future of Native American populations. Impact number 2 and 1, the modern impact. The repercussions of European arrival are still deeply felt by Native American populations today. The current socioeconomic status of Native Americans is a stark reminder of the historical trauma they endured. Many Native American communities face high levels of poverty, unemployment, and health issues, a direct result of centuries of discrimination and marginalization. The wound of historical trauma is still open and healing, passed down through generations. This trauma manifests in various forms such as substance abuse, mental health disorders, and high suicide rates among Native Americans. The struggle for rights and recognition is ongoing. Despite the adversity, there's a growing resilience among Native American communities. They are fighting for the protection of their lands, for the preservation of their cultural heritage, and for their rightful place in society. The echoes of the past continue to reverberate in the present, influencing the lives of Native Americans today. As we've journeyed through the impacts, it becomes clear that the arrival of Europeans forever changed the course of Native American history. From the moment of first contact, an unalterable sequence of events was set into motion. The introduction of foreign diseases decimated populations, while trade and enslavement brought about seismic shifts in societal structure. The arrival of missionaries marked a spiritual transformation, often forced, that forever altered the cultural landscape. The establishment of reservations confined and isolated tribes, while assimilation policies sought to erase centuries-old traditions. Legal battles continue to be fought, and the modern impact of these historical events is still evident today. The ripple effects of this clash of cultures are far-reaching, shaping the lives of millions. Yet, amid these upheavals, the spirit of Native American cultures persists. Their resilience in the face of adversity, a testament to the human spirit. The story of Native Americans serves as a powerful reminder of the resilience of cultures and the indomitable spirit of humanity.